Okay, so now that the City of Heroes stuff is pretty much behind us, we're now out of the game client. I'm going back to Chrominance from a couple of videos back where I extracted him and I pointed out that he is not assembled. So now we're going to put him back together again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this lamp. I'm going to delete this camera because they're in my way. I don't want them. So as you can see, everything is aligned on the 0, 0 axis. So this is pretty straightforward. You got some pants. You got a boot. You've got another boot. You got a shirt. You've got an arm. You've got another arm. You have, I think this is actually just a piece of geometry that held the little claw mark that he has. It's not needed, so I'm going to delete it. And then here's his head. This is his baseball cap. And here is his beard. So we have all these pieces to put Chrominance back together again. Now the first thing I'm going to point out is the Oogle extractor, while it gets you the geometry, it does a pretty horrible job at it. I mean, the geometry is there, but here's the problem. If I go into edit mode, I'm going to click on remove doubles. It removed 905 duplicate vertices. So that's basically 905 vertices that were sitting on top of each other, which is completely unnecessary. And I don't know why it does that. It just does. So if you're not using Blender to do all this, hopefully your program has a way to correct that. But that's what you need to be aware of. So that is the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to go through all of these and remove any doubles, so that I don't have to contend with that. Remove doubles. I'm going to remove doubles. I'm going to remove doubles, and I'm going to remove doubles. Now, you can also just work with one piece at a time, which is what I generally do. I just want to focus on the subject matter, though. That's why I'm doing it this way. So the subject is removing doubles. That's what I'm demonstrating. When I personally go through this, I will go through and remove the doubles, convert the geometry to quads. I'll do everything on one piece at a time. So that's probably just where I'm going to work now. So you get the point. Anyway, so now back at the shirt. Blender, and this is kind of depends on what program you're using, but as you can see, this geometry is pretty much made completely up of tries. Blender, for some reason, doesn't like tries. They say tries are really, really bad in Blender. So I'm going to go into my faces and tries to quads to clean up as much of those as I can. And as you can see, it's done a pretty good job at it. It's not perfect, but it's okay. So I'm going to do the... Actually, I'm just going to work on the shirt. So, you know what? Before I do that, let's put him back together again. Because once you change the geometry and stuff and you smooth it out, it gets to be a little bit harder to see what is supposed to go where. So here, let's just put him together. As you can see, he's got a fairly low poly head. I'm going to go into side mode, and I'm going to drop his head down. Looks like it needs to come back a little bit and then come up. And basically this is just a game of line it all up. That should be close enough. Next I'm going to do the hands. I'm going to go ahead and hide these boots so that they aren't in my way. So I'm going to go there and kind of do that, and I'm going to go to there and kind of do that. Go to front view. They're way up in the air, so that's no good. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go there. Okay, and now I'm going to really zoom in and try to get them as close together as I can. And move that there. Needs to go over just a tad more. Go up a tad more. Okay. And now I'm going to go over here to C7. Go over here to this one and make sure he's there. Probably has to come down a tad. Needs to come in a hair. All right. So we've got his head put back together. His arms are put back together. Let's see. Now his pants. Let's see. Okay. His boots are hidden, so let's get those back. Go back into the front side ortho view, and actually I'm going to hide this boot for now, and we'll work on this one here. So let's see. Looks like his pants went over the boots. It's hard to tell. I know the boots are fairly well hidden inside there. Probably right about like that. I'm going to unhide the other one and try to move it into, whoopsie. Try to move it into the exact same place. Let's see. That doesn't look horribly bad. Okay. All right. Now I did just see. I guess it was just a anti-aliasing thing. All right. So, can't forget his beard, which is going to go. Let's see. Try to figure out where his lips are. And that looks about right. And then his baseball cap. That looks about right. Okay. Now, I'm going to pull him up to the top of this line here. And now we can move on to texturing him. But, and I'm just going to do that extremely fast just so that we can see what we're working with. So his shirt was basically black. All right. His jeans were basically blue. His boots were basically tan-ish. I should be naming these, but like I said, this is just to give you an idea of what you're going to have to go through and do. So I'm just kind of cruising along. As far as Blender goes, all that stuff, I assume you either know it or you can go find tutorials on how to do it. Give him a kind of skin color, sort of. How about that? We'll call this, come on. We'll call this skin. Assign it to the other one, and then assign that. I believe his baseball hat was kind of a gray color, and his beard is sort of brown. Now, if you remember what he looked like, that is pretty much him. So all that would be left now is you could stick with this and work more with just texturing, or from here you can go ahead and you can, you know, work on making the mesh with more poly, whatnot. Give it some more geometry, make it look more realistic if you want to. But that's pretty much where we end this whole series. Is we've put the guy back together. I've touched on that you're going to have to remove the extra polys. There'll be some editing to do. But pretty much once you've got the OBJ file, you can work with it however you want to. I believe, but I'm not really sure, that this would be a somewhat nice candidate for maybe a 3D print. What I'm going to do from here, I'll just go ahead and do it and show you what happens, is I'm going to go ahead and go into the UVs. I'm going to smooth everything. So tab, smooth, tab, go to smooth. As you can see, it's starting to clear up some of that jagged geometry and make it look a little bit more natural, I guess. Especially when it comes to his face, it does a lot for that. I mean, you can see now, I mean, his face looks a lot less like a disfigured triangle and more like a face. There. We'll do his pants, go and smooth those. I'll do his boots. I'll go through and smooth those. And I'll do his other boot, go through and smooth that. And there we have it. He is even in a T-pose and ready to be rigged. You can upload your character to a company called Mixamo. It's mixamo.com. That's M-I-X-I-O. Let's see, hang on. It's right here. Here's the link. At the time of this video, they're letting you auto rig everything for free. They are moving over to Adobe, as you can see, and pretty soon that won't be happening anymore, or I'm not real sure what their deal is going to be, but right now this is free. So if you're watching this video like within the first week or so of me putting it out there, then you might be able to get up there, go and rig that. They have their own tutorials on how to do that, but essentially you would basically export him back out. I would save him as a new OBJ file now that he's got just his geometry is just him, and then you can upload it to the auto rigger. They put a skeleton on him, and then you can animate him with the either manually with a skeleton or by putting their own pre-made animations on top of him. But anyways, I hope this was useful for somebody, and I think that is going to be the end of this tutorial. I'm not going to go into detail about texturing the buildings or working with the city, because that is just so involved. That would be like a whole another set of tutorials that I'm not really in the mood for doing right now. So enjoy, and thank you for watching.